it goes on and on and on.
Remind me of everything tonight. Yes, I'm in the zone.
I used to know. I get a good feeling. Dreaming about the things that we could be.
So it's gonna be forever. You already know.
That's what kill me when I'm in the spot. Don't believe me, just watch. Oh, is it too late now to say I need a one dance? And then we start to dance.
Hi everyone, now I will start the presentation with the selected topic from the Form 4 syllabus, which is Chapter 7, Rate of Reaction. In this chapter, we will look at the factors that affect the rate of chemical reaction. The factors are size of reactants, concentration, temperature, and also presence of catalyst. Before we can understand how these factors affect the rate, we need to know the theory behind the reactions, which is known as collision theory. Collision theory explains why different reactions occur at different rates and suggests ways to change the rate of reaction. Collision theory states that in order the particles to react, they have to collide with each other. The rate of the reaction depends on the frequency of the collisions. For the collisions to be successful, reacting particles must collide with sufficient energy, which also we call the activation energy, and with the proper orientation. If they collide with the less energy than activation energy, nothing will happen. So, as the temperature for the reaction increases, the particles gain more energy, which means they move faster and collide frequently. It's more likely to exceed activation energy. So, overall, there will be higher rates of successful collisions and as higher rates of reaction. Concentration focuses on the amount of particles per unit of volume. The amount increases make the collision more frequent and higher rates of the reaction. Same goes to the concentration. The size of reactant focus on surface area. The smaller the reactants, the higher the surface area, and the higher surface area will increase the rate of reaction. As example, there are a block, a small chunk, and powder of 3 grams of magnesium. The powder form have the highest surface area with the smallest size, which frequency of collision will be higher, leading to the higher rates of reaction. Last factor we need to cover is presence of catalyst. Catalyst is a substance that speeds up the reaction without being used up in the reaction. One of the common sources of catalyst are the transition metal as nickel and cobalt. So, from this topic, students can determine the rates of reaction by using the formula amount of product formed over time taken. In addition, they can differentiate how the factors affect the rates of reaction. The higher temperature, the higher rates of reaction. The concentration increase leading to the higher rates of reaction. The catalyst can speed up the reaction, and lastly, the smaller size of reactant will increase the rates of reaction. All the factors are based on the collision theory. Now, I would like to show the content, learning and performance standards for Chapter 7, Form 4 Chemistry. Next selected topics is from Form 5 syllabus, Chapter 3, Thermochemistry under theme Heat. First of all, the subtopic is Heat Change in Reaction. In this subtopic, we will look at the classification of chemical reaction. There are two types of chemical reaction, exothermic reaction and also endothermic reaction. Exothermic reaction are reactions or processes that release energy, usually in the form of heat or light. In an exothermic reaction, energy is released because the total energy of the product is less than the total energy of the reactant. On the other hand, endothermic reactions are chemical reactions in which the reactants absorb heat energy from the surroundings to form products. Physical processes can be endothermic as well. As example, ice cubes absorb heat energy from their surroundings and melt to form liquid water. Next, the subtopic is heat of reaction. The heat of reaction, usually named according to the types of reaction take place. The first heat is heat of displacement. The heat of displacement is the heat change when 1 mole of the metal is displaced from its salt solution by a more electropositive metal. We move to the second one, heat of neutralization. It is the amount of heat evolved when one equivalent of an acid and one equivalent of a base undergo a neutralization reaction to form water and a salt. Next, heat of combustion. Heat of combustion is normally measured calorimetrically, but it can also be calculated with good accuracy from the elemental composition of the coal. The last one is heat of precipitation. The heat of precipitation is the energy change when 1 mole of precipitate is formed from its ion. There are some applications of exothermic and endothermic reaction in daily life. For example, for exothermic reaction, there are hot can, railway welding, and also fire fuel. For endothermic reaction, canned drink and also melting ice cream. In summary, thermochemistry is a subfield of thermodynamics which studies the relationships between heat, work, and the other forms of energy produced by various chemical and physical processes. Thermochemistry is defined as the change in energy that occurs as a result of a chemical process. Let's watch the content, learning, and performance standard for this chapter.
Hi everyone, today I will be presenting about teaching strategies and learning activities. The first teaching strategy is inquiry approach. So what is inquiry approach? It is a learning and teaching approach that emphasizes students' questions, ideas, and observations. Instructors will actively encourage students to share their thoughts and to respectfully challenge, test, and redefine ideas. With inquiry approach, instructors and students share responsibility for learning. It focuses on learning through experiences rather than memorizing and taking notes. Students are encouraged to conduct their own investigations and experiments. There are advantages and disadvantages of inquiry approach. The first advantage is it encourages students to solve problems, create solutions, tackle and experience real-life issues. The second one, it deepens students' understanding. Inquiry approach helps students to make their own connections about what they learn. During this process, most students understand how the rule of formula works, how idea was developed, and when they can apply the rule and idea. The third one is to promote engagement. This approach encourages students to immerse themselves into the learning process. Through this exploration of different topics, they make connections, ask questions, and learn more effectively as they reach their conclusions. The first disadvantages of inquiry approach is that students are reluctant to participate. This teaching and learning style requires total student engagement and participation. Students will be asked to speak up and immerse themselves in the activity. While this could help enhance their public speaking skills and also promote teamwork, it could be terrifying for those students who have issues with speaking out. Additionally, it could be challenging for those students who do not think quickly. Comprehension and learning disabilities must be considered, which could become problematic. The second disadvantages of inquiry approach is student readiness. Students that are involved in this type of approach must have the capacity to make decisions on their own. As inquiry approach is a self-directed form of learning, students must be comfortable with taking responsibility for their own learning without relying on someone else. But if students are not prepared for this learning process, it might cause problems. The third disadvantage is teachers might not be able to engage with their students on a deeper level. When teachers do not completely understand or embrace a concept, they are unprepared and unable to engage with their students. This creates a disconnect which in turn leaves the students unprepared and at risk. Teachers must have a clear understanding of the value of creating a learner-centered classroom. The learning activity for inquiry approach is constructing a mind map. Viewers are required to construct a mind map about the factors that affect reaction rates. However, since this session is pre-recorded, this activity will be conducted at the end of the presentation. This activity is a group activity that emphasizes students' ideas, questions, and observation. Advantages and disadvantages of mind map. Mind map encourages teamwork and allows students to expand their ideas and trigger self-questioning. However, if a mind map is not well constructed, it will contain too much unnecessary information, and the process of constructing a mind map is also time-consuming. The second teaching strategy is problem-based learning. Problem-based learning is a teaching method in which real-world problems are used as the vehicle to promote students' learning of concepts and principles. The advantages of problem-based learning consist of three. The first one, it strengthens the interpersonal skills and teamwork. Second, it develops transferable skills. Problem-based learning can help students to develop skills they can transfer to real-life scenarios. When a teacher teaches lessons through real-life scenarios, students should be able to apply learnings if they eventually face similar issues. The third advantage is it increases students' interest in learning. When kids collaborate to solve real-life problems, it indirectly interests them. The first disadvantage of problem-based learning is it is time-consuming. Assessing a student's performance throughout a problem-based learning exercise demands constant monitoring and note-taking. And it is also a challenge for the institutions to change the course content depending on the teacher. The activity for problem-based learning is brainstorming. Viewers are required to brainstorm about endothermic and exothermic reactions and relate the exothermic and endothermic reactions with real-world problems. This is an individual activity where everyone is free to answer and present their idea. The advantages of brainstorming is that it encourages creative thinking. Brainstorming requires an individual to think more creatively and without boundaries, which lead to improved ideas and suggestions. Brainstorming also gives everybody a chance to be heard. Every individual are free to present their personal ideas. The disadvantages of brainstorming is that it is time-consuming and it might contain misinformation. Lastly is teaching strategies for online class. Since we are in the middle of a pandemic, it is a crucial thing to know on how to teach in online class. First, we can use PowerPoint slides or Google Slides to highlight the important point in a topic. We can simplify the content of the topic into a PowerPoint slides and highlight the important terms, content and processes. Teacher can also include suitable and necessary illustration to help students to understand. For example, teacher can ask for the definition of exothermic reaction and endothermic reaction and ask for examples. Second, teacher can use Google Classroom for students. Google Classroom is a famous online platform to gather students in one online room. Teacher can make announcements for new learning materials, online quizzes, and even collect attendance. For example, teacher can upload their learning materials on Google Classroom and notify their students. The third one is to use YouTube content to explain related experiments to a topic. Visual aids in YouTube content will help students to understand the concept better. Students do not have to carry out the experiment by themselves, but they can only watch the online video instead. For example, students can watch a video about electrochemical cell and thermodynamics function experiment. The last one is to create online quizzes to assess students' understanding. Teacher can create online quizzes in every class and determine the students' understanding of the topic. It will also make the class more interesting and less boring. Example of online platform for quizzes is Kahoot, Quizzes, and even Google Form. Simple MCQ, fill in the blank and short answer of topic like rate of reaction will be very fun and informative. That's all from me. Thank you for listening.
Assessment is a systematic process of gathering, interpreting, and acting upon data related to student learning and experience for the purpose of developing a deep understanding of what students know, understand, and can apply the knowledge as a result of their educational experience. Let's move to the purpose of assessment. Firstly, assessment for learning is occur when teachers use inferences about student progress to inform their teaching. It is called as formative assessment. Teachers provide feedback to students about their teaching in learning and having a Q&A sections or quizzes. It is recorded but not graded. Assessment of learning asks teachers to use evidence of student learning to make judgments on student achievement against goals and standards. It is known as summative assessment. The teachers give a test or examinations of every chapters in the subject for the students. It is for grading purposes. Assessment as learning occurs when students reflect on and monitor their progress to inform their future learning goals. It is known as self-assessment. It is a self-directed learning as well for the students to think about their own learning. For the examples of assessment as learning are reflective journals and reflections. This is the highest form of assessments and used to monitor their own learning. For background knowledge prop, it is introducing an important new topic by short, simple survey at the beginning of the topic to determine the most effective starting point for a given lesson. It's also to determine appropriate level at which to begin instruction. It can be in form of open-ended question, short answer questions, and 10 to 20 multiple choice questions. Next is a focus listing. It is a focus student attentions on a single important term, name, or concept from a particular lesson. It is a direct them to list several ideas that are closely related to that focus point. It can be used before teaching to gauge the best starting point, during teaching, make midpoint corrections, and after teaching to measure the student's progress. Lastly, misconceptions or preconceptions check. It is a focus on uncovering prior knowledge or beliefs that may hinder or block further learning. Teachers start the lessons by identifying some of the most troublesome common misconceptions or preconceptions students bring to instruction. It should be brainstormed, like troublesome ideas and beliefs. Create a simple questionnaire. Cognitive maps. It is drawings or diagrams showing the mental connections that students make between a major concept the teacher focus on and other concepts they have to learn. It is a two-dimensional hierarchical node-link diagram that depicts the structures of knowledge within a scientific discipline. It provides observable record and accessible record of students' conceptual schemata. There are 4 types of written assessment, which are 1-minute paper, 1-sentence summary, word journal, and annotated folios. Firstly, 1-minute paper. It provides a quick and extremely simple way to collect written feedback. The teacher can quickly check how well students are learning in the lessons. Students respond briefly to some variations on the following 2 questions. Firstly, what was the most important thing you learned in this class? Secondly, what important questions remains unanswered? Next, 1-sentence summary. It enables teachers to find how concisely, completely, and creatively students can summarize a large amount of information of the topic given. It also provides feedback on student summaries of just about any information that can be represented in declarative form. This sentence is created on the basis of following questions: who, does what, to what or whom, when, where, why, and how. Word journal. The teacher's role is to first choose short text that students will be assigned to read. Second, decide what aspects of the text, which is the main theme, central conflict or problem, core metaphor, which students should focus on. This can help assess and improve students' related skills. Firstly, ability to read carefully and deeply. Second, skill and creativity at summarizing what has been read, and third, skill at explaining and defending. Annotated folios. It is a showcase of students' creative work along with the students' explanations of that work in relation to the content or goals. The teacher assesses students' skill at making explicit connections between their creative work and the content. It is also to prompt students to show and tell their teachers and themselves how their creative and self-evaluative skills are developing. Annotated folios also allows the students to express their conceptions of problems or topics. The teachers also gains insights into what they value and appreciate.
Hello everyone. Now I will continue with the relation of topic to the lower secondary science syllabus. In this section, the topics chosen are not in the same theme but it applies the same concept. In Form 4 Chemistry, the topic our group choose is Topic 7 Rate of Reaction, and it will be related with Form 1 Topic 5 Matter, Form 2 Topic 5 Water and Solution, and Form 3 Topic 5 Thermochemistry. In Topic 7 Form 4, it states that when temperature increases, the kinetic energy of reactant particles are increased. This indicates in rate of reaction it uses kinetic theory. Therefore, it is related with Chapter 5 Matter Form 1 because it also explains how kinetic theory are being applied in solid and liquid state. Next, in Chapter 7 Form 4, the concentration of a solute in a solution can be changed by adding solvent or solute. The same concept is being applied in Chapter 5 Form 2 when the sugar acts as a solute is being added in water that acts as solvent and the solution will become high concentration. Lastly, in Chapter 7 Form 4, temperature is one of the effects of the rate reaction. It states most reactions occur faster at high temperature. That is, the rate of reaction increases with increasing temperature. In which Chapter 5 Form 3, when the reaction occurs at high temperature, it means the system gains the heat from surrounding. It is called endothermic reaction. Therefore, the same concept is being applied in both chapters. Next is Form 5 Topic 3 Thermochemistry that will be related with Form 1 Topic 7 Air, Form 2 Topic 9 Heat, and Form 3 Topic 5 Thermochemistry. In Form 5 topic, it states heat of combustion is the heat released when 1 mole of substance is burned completely with 1 mole of oxygen. It is the same statement that stated in Form 1 Chapter 7 that indicate the reaction occur when the presence of oxygen. Next, in Chapter 3 Form 5, there are two types of reaction involved: exothermic reaction and endothermic reaction. Endothermic reaction is being applied in Chapter 9 Form 2. When the ice cream is left at room temperature and become melt, it shows that it absorbs the heat from the surrounding. Therefore, it's called endothermic reaction. Lastly, both of Chapter 3 Form 5 and Chapter 5 Form 3 apply the same application of endothermic and exothermic reaction in daily life, such as in health, food, photosynthesis, and respiration.